Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and this video is going to be a faction wars guide for the DEMONSPAWN faction. So let's get into it. Alrighty, so as we pull up the infographic here, I will have a link to this down in a pinned comment if you want to pull this up and take a look at my team. This kind of shows everything in one place, gives you an idea of what it takes to clear the faction. I've got the averages on the left in terms of HP, defense, accuracy. You can see all the gear that I put on, champions I use, their speed, their stats, and all that good stuff. And I will have a video showing my 3-star full auto clear of the last stage, stage 21. I'll have that at the end of the video so you can check that out if you want to see what the run actually looks like on auto. But yeah, just a couple notes about the team. The new daily login reward, Tynix Hate Flower, that they added about 5 or 6 weeks ago as of you recording this, is actually pretty good for faction wars. Kymar, obviously S tier. He's got buff strip, which is extremely important in the last stage of DEMONSPAWN when you're going up against martyrs, Valkyries, and all that type of stuff. And also resetting cooldowns is pretty big as well. Padma is just a general utility champion. Void affinity, never hitting weak, decreasing attack, decreasing accuracy, doing all that good stuff. Umbro Enchantress is actually amazing for the waves. She blocks buffs, she places provoke, she soaks stuff up. I put her in a freeze set so that when she's sitting there soaking up provokes, she's also placing freezes when she gets hit by the enemies attacking her. And then Allure, amazing in faction wars, especially in boss fights. She can reduce the turn meters. On stage 21, once I killed the minions of the boss never got a turn. I just sat there for 3 minutes or whatever, hacking down the boss, and you'll see in the video at the end, Allure makes it so if you've got like at least 230 or something speed, the boss won't even get a turn. As long as Allure is tough to gear, you need basically every stat in the game. You need crit rate, speed, accuracy, toughness, and then you also need attack if you want her to do any damage. So very, very tough to gear, but if you do get her built right, she's an absolute monster in faction wars, especially against the bosses. And speaking of bosses, let me pop up the boss info for stage 21. Now, if you are stuck on a boss fight that is not the last boss fight, the problem is your champions, your gear, your strategy, something like that. So don't worry, you'll get there. If you keep working on your faction, you will progress past it. But stage 21 can be very difficult and very tough, especially at a 3-star, because you either need everybody to survive or you need revive mechanic and all that type of stuff. But there are a bunch of different bosses. I think there's 5 different types in faction wars, like yellow, red, purple, different colors that represent different types of bosses. I will also link in that same pinned comment to a post on Plarium's website that lays out all the bosses, so you can check that out if you're interested. But for the DEMONSPAWN, the last stage is going to be boss yellow, and that is going to be attack 2 random enemies. Each hit places a provoke debuff for 2 turns. The A2 is going to be an AoE that places a true fear for 2 turns. That's brutal. So that A2 for the boss fight is nasty. Then we've got the A3, a 20% chance of placing a freeze debuff for 1 turn on the attacker when hit, and it cannot be resisted. So resistance going to be really good in this boss fight just for the true fear itself, because that can be devastating. Especially the boss is very tough when it has the minions up. You'll see here that they place increased defense, increased speed, and that boss is sitting there cranking out those true fears, freezing you when you attack it. So it is a tough boss fight. Once you get the minions down, if you are using an Allure, it should be easy as long as you've got her built well, like I said before. But yeah, once I got the minions down, the boss did not take a turn, and I was able to slowly, it is kind of a pain when you're sitting there getting frozen just for simply attacking the boss. So it is a little bit annoying, but I was able to cycle through before he would get another turn and able to kind of smash him down over the course of 2 or 3 minutes. But let's get this stuff put away and let's dive into the index and have a discussion about DEMONSPAWN. Now, I also will have this down in the pinned comment, but I made a little graphic here that shows the grades for the faction in general. Just lays it out, my faction war score for them on my tier list. You can also find a full link to my tier list down below, but I've got it placed weird. That way I can pull up a champion and you can see their base stats here. That's why I got it placed there a little bit off center. But yeah, DEMONSPAWN, pretty solid. Duchess, Kymar, Allure, Tynix Hate Flower are the staples. I think those are amazing champions in basically any level. And then you go down from there. They've got a lot of good champions. Tyrant, Shazar, Umbro, Mortimer got buffed recently. He's pretty solid. Drexthar and Neathway. There's lots of different options here in terms of putting together a roster to do well in Faction Wars. And the login reward Tynix definitely helps out the Demon Spawns if you don't have one of those S tier legendaries like Duchess or something. She does do very good. She's a good addition to the game for Demon Spawn to make the faction crypt a little bit more manageable. But as we back out to the index again, one unfortunate thing about Demon Spawn is there's not a whole lot of good rares. The only two that I think are really worth like actually looking at and possibly building for Faction Wars are going to be Fellhound, who is a Void. He does have some heals, and he can be kind of cool in the stun set because he's got the AoE A1 that decreases speed, and if you put him in a stun set or something, he can really have a lot of suppression in terms of stunning, lowering speed, bringing some heals, and then he's also got a defense aura in Faction Crypts, which is pretty good. So he's a very good cheap option. And then you can also get Diabolist from the campaign. She famously drops in the most farm stage of the campaign, stage 12. So you can go ahead and scoop her up. She's kind of like a baby apothecary, kind of like a budget apothecary. She does have a semi-reliable sleep on an A1 at 20% if you've got her booked up, which should be pretty easy because you can farm duplicates of her. And then she's got, as you can see here, an AoE that is a 30% increased speed on all allies, which is pretty solid for Faction Wars. And then she's also got turn meter filling and turn meter reduction for enemies. Now remember, you do need accuracy to land turn meter reduction on enemies. So a lot of newer players don't know that. It's not a guaranteed proc. You need accuracy to land that. But yeah, definitely not the easiest faction, not the hardest faction. I think the easier ones are like High Elves and Lizardmen, and then the tougher ones are going to be like Skinwalkers, Ogre and Tribes, Night Revenant and stuff. So Demon Spawn's going to fall somewhere in the middle. Dwarves are really tough too. I'll probably get into a list where I let everybody know kind of what are the easier ones to complete stage 21, what are the harder ones to complete stage 21. Once I'm done with all of these faction guides, I'll probably put something like that together so that people know, in my opinion, what they are in terms of easiest to hardest. But Demon Spawn, somewhere in the middle, and like I said, that new Tynix Hate Flower they released as a login reward, that does help with the realistic capabilities of being able to complete the faction and progress in it for sure. And Padma, Umbral, Allure, lots of very good epics that are attainable for people that play the game for a while. So you don't necessarily need S tier legendaries or very specific champions to go ahead and progress deep into those later stages where you can get the 6-star glyphs like 18, 19, and 20. So I think if you play the game for a while and you're diligent about building your account, you should be able to get to a point where you can at least farm some 6-star glyphs up around stage 18 or 19, as long as you are making sure you're paying attention about your progression. But yeah, I will have a link to those graphics down below in a pinned comment, and now I will dive in to my clear of the full 3-star auto on stage 21. So thank you for watching. I'll take off and let you watch that if you would like. So have a good rest of your day. Peace.